Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today, where we are talking all things how IT and MSP teams are using AI to stay ahead. I would love to introduce myself. My name is Jen. I am on the product marketing team here at GoTo for LogMeIn Resolve, and I would love to turn it over to Miner so you can introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Miner Fernandez, and I'm a solutions consultant within GoTo. Nice to meet everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. And like we said, we are talking about using AI to stay ahead. So let's jump in. We first have a quick preview of what we are talking about. So we'll start by sharing some market insights, kind of what's going on in the industry, look at some statistics and some really interesting sentiment feelings about AI in the workplace, and kind of tying that into what we're seeing as far as trends and different kinds of predictions for the industry. And then we'll talk about what's possible today. So, really looking at the way that we can use AI to build on our own capabilities and make ourselves more efficient in what we're doing. And then, really, how we can use that AI to look at trend analysis, build content, and even look at how AI can start to take action. So before we really jump into the content, we do have a quick poll question that will pop up on the screen. And we're really just looking to understand from the audience where you are in your AI journey, if it's something you're all in on, maybe still planning, or really haven't started yet. So we will give you a moment here to answer that. Awesome. I see some answers coming through, so much appreciated. We'll give you just one more moment here. And I'm also going to try to reshare and not be so very blurry. Awesome. Thank you all for taking the time to answer that poll. Really appreciate it. It looks like we're all kind of in the mix, getting started, starting to get our feet a little wet with AI. So that's awesome. And let's kind of talk about it. So the future of IT support being AI is not really the case anymore, right? We're there. AI is here, and it's really coming at an amazing time because we know we're all under a lot of different pressure to do a lot more work with the same amount of resources. So, what does that really look like in practice? We know that there are real struggles, in IT teams and MSP teams today, and they really kind of fall into these buckets. So we have really an issue of outdated documentation, and that really comes as a result of documentation being really time consuming and it not really being the most fun thing that you can do when you are an IT pro, right? We want to be out there solving issues. We don't really want to be out there typing up notes and creating documentation. So that becomes a real issue when it comes down to bringing on new people onto the team, or even just really aiming for that standardization that comes along with service delivery. And in the same vein, tribal knowledge is another big issue. It's great to have people on the team who are super versed in what they're doing and really know the processes from A to Z. But what happens if they find a new position or, leave the company? That knowledge leaves with them. So, kind of right there with that outdated or maybe non existent documentation. And another thing is the repetitive troubleshooting that a lot of teams have to go through. So, having to constantly do the same things over and over, it can lead to a little bit of burnout. It's really not that much fun. And that really plays into that last bucket too, right? We have thinly stretched teams. Our responsibilities are compounding, but really the resources aren't. And that's where AI can really come into play. And to jump back to security threats, we know that there is always this ongoing, expanding landscape of where we can see those security threats. So having to stay on top of that is just another layer to what is already pretty overwhelming. So with all of that in mind, we just know that the status quo and doing things the way we've always done it, because that's just the way we've always done it, is not really sustainable anymore. And so when we start to look into how different teams are feeling about AI and where we see the most opportunity, I thought some of this was a little interesting and wanted to share that across these SMB companies, we are seeing, and I've highlighted the two that really play into what we're talking about today. We're seeing that the larger of those companies are really leaning into AI for things like customer service and support. And you'll see some of that here today and how we at LogMeIn Resolve are doing it. And then also for that employee training and documentation. So digging right back into those pain points, we know that there's a real opportunity and other companies are even highlighting it to leverage AI to help assist us in those different areas. But what I think is even more interesting is when we look at the sentiment that different companies and different individuals inside organizations have around AI. So the two that I want to highlight on the left are really around how people are feeling about using AI. The first being, I'm really excited about the possibilities that AI brings to my business and my career. I think if we looked at this maybe a couple years ago, this is a 2026 survey, those numbers wouldn't have been as high, right? There's a lot of fear around AI, but when we use it the way that we're intending to use it, it's not a replacement tool. It's really there to be supplemental and to augment the way that you work so that you can do more with less. And the second one in that table, I think, is a really cool one to highlight that most people, 69%, feel proud when they effectively use new technology at work. And I can co sign that feeling. It's really kind of amazing when you see, wow, I can get so much more done when I leverage this technology available to me and I do it well. Still knowing that I'm fully involved in the process, which is kind of what that table on the right shows, that we really see most people, individual contributors and managers, really falling into some kind of hybrid approach to AI, where we're either seeing it where it makes sense, where it's an equal amount of human and AI, or more human led with less AI. And we'll only continue to see those sentiments, I think, grow, because as the work continues to grow, we need that supplemental assistance. But what's super interesting about that is that Gartner put this prediction out that by 2030, and with the way time is flying, we're not that far away, 0% of IT work will be purely human. We're still going to be the most heavily involved resource there, with 75% being human, but with AI augmentation and about a quarter of that, 25%, being AI only. So AI is really not about taking the jobs, it's about transforming the workplace and the way that we work. And that is, I think, a nice transition into talking about really what's possible today and how we can leverage LogMe and Resolve to really assist in the way that you're working. So the first use case that we want to talk about is really AI text manipulation. And this, if we do a callback to some of those statistics talking about using AI for customer service, customer support, we're going to show you how we're able to do that in Resolve to hopefully lift the burden off of your customer and your team, but then also how your team can use that inside tickets to get a better understanding of the ticket and also to be better equipped to communicate with your end user or your customer. So I will turn it over to Minor so that we can take a better look at that.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how we're going to implement AI to help you in terms of possibly deflecting volume or helping your end users. So what I'm showcasing for you today is the ability to have an AI agent help your end users with basic issues that they're experiencing. This specific scenario, I actually wanted to make sure that I was one of those educated end users. We know at this point that that's usually not a thing, but I wanted to be able to showcase at this point the fact that we can go ahead and give it as complex situations as we need to, as well as very basic scenarios for this to interact with us. So not only are we giving you the option to go ahead and pull AI data to go ahead and answer, general questions, you can also go ahead and feed this AI by creating specific help center articles that will feed into the information that your end user is requesting and be able to resolve it himself. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and go through the process of assuming that this didn't go ahead and resolve the issue for the end user. So we're enabling you as the end user to go ahead and create a ticket to go ahead and interact with your specific IT and go ahead and keep a track of this interaction to go ahead and not get lost. So me personally, I remember when I was taking a whole bunch of calls, trying to solve issues on a day-to-day, the first thing I would do is go through the basics, right? So the end user, I would find most of the time would get upset at that. It's like, I already did this. So I needed to go ahead and have a way to provide or prove that this was done correctly. So now this is not only going to help me as a technician, but also my end user be able to go ahead and have a way to show to me that these actions were already taken. So after I go ahead and create the option to submit a ticket for me, I can go ahead and leverage our AI to generate a summary as to what's going on the ticket itself. It's going to go ahead and take a look at the information that's been provided by the end user already, see if there's been any additional tickets that have been submitted or any similar situations to where we could suggest also a possible help center article that's already created in the system itself to help us. Not only are we helping you in terms of generating a summary, because pretty much we all understand that it's very important to be up to date with what's going on in the ticket, we're also enabling you to going ahead and being able to generate a response. So most of the time for me, I used to spend a lot of time thinking, how can I address this customer? Now it's just a matter of generating a response. As you can see on my screen, it goes ahead and generates it for you. You can double check it, make sure that it's accurate, make sure that information is correct. It's just as simple as adding a comment and interacting with your end user. That submitted a response, and within the 2 to 3 minutes that we've been talking, we already went ahead and started a case and pretty much provided a resolution, right? What I was showcasing now at this specific feature is pretty much the option to where AI is going to use the help center articles that exist already to pretty much provide a possible resolution based on those articles that you've been created so far.
Awesome. I think anything that we can do to alleviate kind of that manual work in a ticket is a big win. So thank you for sharing that. I love to see it. We have another example about leveraging AI to become more efficient, and especially with things like script creation. Minor and I were talking about this earlier, and it's never, maybe it is for some people, but it seems like it can be a really complicated and time consuming process to go through and build these scripts, test these scripts. So now we're really excited about what we can do with AI to make that not only the script creation, but understanding, possible errors, those types of things really easy. So AI on its own, great for this, but I think we'd love to show you what that looks like inside of Resolve. So let's get that going.
Great. So let me show you what this looks like. So I usually like to start this portion out by asking everybody how adept they are with PowerShell scripting. Me, myself, not so great. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually prompting this AI generated assistant to go ahead and create a template for me to go ahead and be able to delete temporary files that are older than 30 days within the Windows temp folder. So me personally, I really like to leverage AI, but I also like to understand what's going on before I deploy it or be able to learn from it. So our AI methodology to enhance you here is not only is it going to help you build the script you're looking for, it's also going to go ahead and use the same AI to explain the script itself. So as you can see, I'm clicking on my screen to where it's pretty much explaining what's the purpose of this script, what it's going to accomplish, how it's going to accomplish it. So I have a very big understanding as to what's going on, right? A good grasp. So now that I understand what the script is essentially supposed to do, I can go ahead and click on the explain script option to where it's literally going to go line by line, explaining to me specifically what it's doing per line so I can understand how could this possibly break or affect me in general, right? Now, once I understand what this script can do and what it's intended to do, I can also go ahead and leverage the AI for it to tell me how it could possibly go wrong. So before I have to go and trial and error and see if this is going to deploy, or if this is going to run or execute correctly, I can ask it to check for potential issues to where at this point I can get ahead of myself and understand what could possibly break or not work as intended with the script. Once I've understood that and I understand what's going on, I can simply go ahead and click on the bottom right, the option to create a job from script, and I can easily assign this to a group of devices or a device itself, and that's pretty much how it automatically happens.
We love auto magic. That is such a time saver. I remember hearing from people building scripts about what that process looked like, and it was quite a timely one. So, very cool. Thank you for that as well. So now I would love to switch gears a little bit, and I am super excited to talk about these two advanced analytics capabilities that we're going to talk about. The first really being leveraging AI to understand what you're looking at. So things like error messages or what's on the screen. Um, or even running device diagnostics. Think of all the time you've spent doing those things when you're troubleshooting and compare that to what you're about to see with AI really taking the lead for you. So, kind of easing the burden on doing a lot of that digging, but then also leveraging AI to check out what you are doing on that device. So, we were laughing about this earlier too. I think we all probably agree that it is super important to document what we're doing in support sessions and take detailed notes. But how many of us love doing it or really are excited to do that? And maybe more hands would go up if I asked how many of us have kind of overlooked that to focus on the cool stuff or to even just get all the things that we have to fix done in a day. These are the things that can sometimes fall to the wayside. And that's what hurts us in the long run. So, looking at technology that can actually help us do these things that keep us ahead, I think is really, really critical and also really, really cool. So, this is one that we're super excited to highlight for you. And I will turn it back over to you, Minor.
Great, I appreciate that. So, as Jen was saying, right? So we understand at this point that the IT landscape now is about putting out fires. Like you plan out your day, and then next thing you know, there's an emergency, and you really the first thing you're going to sacrifice is pretty much documentation, accuracy, right? So what we're looking to implement here is pretty much showcase the different features that we have within AI in terms of with our sessions, right? What you can do right here is I'm actually analyzing the device itself. I'm asking the AI to please give me some additional insight before I even start touching the device itself. So before I have to go in and take a look as to what could possibly be affecting the device, my AI is already doing the heavy lifting for me, right? So it's essentially telling me that at this point, the CPU memory usage is good, so I can go ahead and take a look at additional things that could be affecting this here, right? So we understand at this point that not everybody knows everything about the warnings and the data and the errors that are in front of your screen. So we also have the capability to ask our AI to analyze the screen itself, to tell you what's going on in terms of the error and a possible outcome or why this alert actually happened, right? So in terms of being able to, instead of guess or go up to the internet, copy paste and find something, you have it within the same console, convenient for you to be able to understand what you need to do next to diagnose this device. So not only do we have the functionality of, proactively, scanning this and being able to see what's going on the back end, I'm also going to go ahead and do some basic troubleshooting here during the session. So I want to pretty much just go ahead and open up my browser, go ahead and clear the history. I want to go ahead and do a couple of steps here to where I'm going to be able to showcase for you the feature itself in terms of taking your notes, how detailed this can be, how much time saving it is at the end of the day. Jen, I was telling you this story earlier, but when I was, a tech support rep, it was, 45-minute calls and 3 minutes to document everything I did. So that's where the actual crunch came in, right? Being able to be accurate about it. I don't know, depending on the support model, you might even be graded on, how accurate your notes are. So I want to pretty much encompass or take as many actions as I can during the session to show you how detailed our session summaries are. So automatically, the session is going to go ahead and record itself. Once the session is recorded, within a couple of seconds, it goes ahead and generates your session notes on the right-hand side, where you're going to get an executive summary of what was done in the session itself. And you also have a dedicated timestamp as to everything that was done in terms of troubleshooting, everything that was clicked on, every specific action that was taken is detailed there for you to copy paste for your purposes. Another powerful feature that we have is the fact that we can allow you to generate support articles, which I mentioned at the beginning, to not only feed your AI, but you can also use it internally for future references, for documentation purposes, to be able to keep up to date with what you did with this specific case. You can also go ahead and use the AI once it's drafted itself to edit it or continue working with it. You can go ahead and include additional actions in terms of the virtual technician. So in terms of AI, what we're essentially looking to do is enhance your day-to-day mundane tasks to where when you have to put out fires, you don't feel bad about having to disregard your documentation, right? This is
Yeah,
the view here where you would see, I'm sorry, then the articles themselves once they're published, and now it's good to you, Jen.
awesome. Yeah, I can never get enough of those demos because not taking notes and just knowing that it's going to happen is incredible. So thank you. Thank you for that. And we take it even a step further when it comes to looking at trends and analytics. And one of the things that has been built into Resolve is AI powered session insights. So knowing that all of this data is getting captured around the way that you're supporting your end users, this makes it just so easy to actually go in and see things about that data. It's not something we really have to dig for. It makes it super easy to surface these insights so that we know kind of what's going on in these remote support sessions. We can see what applications and we can make better decisions based on that. So, what was once something super time consuming, and again, maybe something that fell to the wayside in terms of looking for this data, now is really easily accessible, excuse me, and easy to digest so that you can move forward with more automation, more AI, more training, more documentation based on what you're seeing in those types of reports. So let's take a look at what that looks like.
Excellent. So essentially what we're trying to do here is make sure that we're taking the guesswork as to where you're putting out your fires. So as we've been talking about the fact that fires come up every once every day. So what we're looking to do is understand where those fires are coming from. How can we possibly mitigate them in the future? So in terms of being able to plan out what are the top categories that have contacted you, what kind of software is the one that's generating the most issues, how much time spent is on specific applications, which applications are contacting you the most. What you're looking to do essentially is understand who your top agent is, who is taking the most amount of time doing certain things, where are your efficiencies, where are your deficiencies. What you're looking to do is be able to empower you based on the information we're automatically gathering from your session recordings. Based on this powerful insight, you can go ahead and leverage at this point your team. You understand where everything is being put in terms of your resources and have a good way to understand where you can improve in terms of being more efficient, or in this case, taking a look at your workload in terms of your processes. So not only is this information available from your specific sessions themselves, we're also enabling an AI assistant or widget editor that's going to allow you to pretty much create or pull any kind of reporting that you could think of based on the telemetry from your devices, based on specific information from your sessions. And it's just a matter of entering a specific prompt. It can be as complex or as simple as you'd like, and it's going to go ahead and automatically start pulling the information from you. Once you go ahead and pull this report and gather the details you want, you can manipulate it. You can go ahead and select a different time frame. You can go and get to the point where you get very granular to understand what your trends are. Once you've gone ahead and generated this dashboard here, you can go ahead and add it to a specific report and pin it to your dashboard to where on a daily basis you can keep a track of whichever information it be, whether it be trends, whether it be which devices are contacting you the most, whether it be top categories for issues created. If you name it, it's at your fingertips.
That you, that rivals the session notes for me as like the coolest thing because ooh, I have been involved with building custom reports in the days before AI, and I didn't have a great time doing it. So natural language prompts and reports coming back is an amazing thing. Our last use case that we are going to really dive into is some advanced action. So we've really taken a look at how AI can supplement what you're already doing and make your life a little bit easier. But how about talking about how AI can actually do some of the action for you while maintaining the right amount of human oversight? And this is and it's tough when they're all so cool. Maybe also rival for my favorite, but I'd love to turn it back over so we can see kind of those advanced actions in Resolve.
Great. So what I'm looking to showcase for you pretty much is our resolution agent right now. So the way our resolution agent works is it's going to go ahead and analyze the issue that's reported on a specific ticket. It's going to take into account the telemetry from the device reporting the ticket, as well as additional reports based on the wording on the ticket itself. So as you can see, as it's thinking on the right-hand side, as I'm taking these actions, it's automatically taking into consideration these factors to provide me at least three possible outcomes to fix what's going on with the device. So at this point, I haven't even had to connect to the device. I haven't even started a session to the device itself. The resolution agent is taking care of that for me. So at this point, it pretty much is crafting three different options for me. The first one is either going to go ahead and deploy a script, which is what you can see on the screen now. Goes and explains to you why this would make sense as a possible outcome, and it automatically generates the script for you. Once again, if you're not big on PowerShell, it goes ahead and executes it for you. It also gives you the option to run that specifically from this page. The second option that I went ahead and generated is a specific virtual agent job to where this is going to go ahead and do itself automatically. So it's a job that you can go ahead and run specifically this plan on the device itself for the AI to go ahead and carry out this troubleshooting automatically for you to just go ahead and supervise it, which is the outcome that we're looking to do here. You have the possibility of editing every single one of these steps. So just because it's already included there by the AI doesn't mean that it's set in stone. You have the full flexibility of adding a step, removing if necessary. And at this point, what I'm showing you on my screen is essentially the virtual assistant, the virtual technician taking over the computer itself. On the right-hand side, I'm just pretty much just supervising every single one of those tasks. And like I would show people, like, see, mom, no hands. It's pretty much taking care of it for itself, right? It's clicking on the device itself. It's bringing up the specific windows that it needs to interact with. If at any point it needs any interaction from me, or if it needs any confirmation, it loads and notifies me to go ahead and double check on the job, make sure that it's correct, and then I can go ahead and continue with my day, ensuring that I've supervised that this process went through correctly. As you can see at this point, it's letting me know that the action was completed. As I'm talking to you, everything's being done automatically by the agent itself. So not only has it already helped me diagnose the issue and at this point run the possible fix itself, it's also going to go ahead and allow me to craft a response automatically based on the actions that were taken. By just going ahead and allowing it to recognize that this action was taken, the next step here is to go ahead and send a response to this end user, and it's just a matter of authorizing that response and sending it automatically here. I don't even have to go through the ticket itself. I don't need to go ahead and scan it again. Just need to make sure that pretty much what is said on that text is accurate. You know, AI tends to make some mistakes every once in a while. I can send my reply and my issue was resolved without me having to use more than 10 minutes to resolve a possible Outlook issue here, right? Once I go ahead and click on send the reply, the user gets the notification and we're just waiting on confirmation that the issue was resolved.
Amazing, truly amazing. And if you are an existing Resolve user, we have that resolution agent in a closed beta right now. If you want to pop into the chat, if you'd like to be contacted about being part of that, let us know and we can certainly follow up. And that does kind of wrap up all the use case and demo points we wanted to talk about. So just as a quick wrap up here, what this means in practice is ultimately faster resolution times, taking a lot of the grunt work, the not fun stuff off your plate so that we can turn that over to AI. And even as you just saw, having it run some diagnostics and come up with scripts and just really improving that first contact resolution. But really, what we're after is less burnout. We want to support our teams in ways that they get to work on what they love to do in IT and maybe not what they don't love to do, like documentation and things like that. So, really, it's kind of the best of all the worlds, right? Because ultimately will have better documentation while easing that burden. And that's going to make it easier for us too as we bring on new people to maintain that level of standardization and quality of service that we've built into all of these things thus far. So, with that, if you are not all the way familiar, we talked a lot about how we're AI powered. We have a lot of really cool AI functionality. But for Resolve in general, we are that all in one IT management platform, unifying how you're managing endpoints. So we're bringing together all of that hands on support capability, your endpoint management, and the IT record keeping into our zero trust platform with all of that AI baked in. So we're super, super excited about all the things that we showed you today and then layered on top of all of the other already cool things that we do. We hope that you are just as excited. And if you are, we'd love to capture that. We have another quick poll question will pop up just to make sure that if you are looking to be contacted or learn more about LogMeIn Resolve, that we do get you connected with the right resources on our side. So we'll give you a moment there to answer that poll. And while we do, I know we are at time. I see a couple questions. Let's see if we can address one here at least. Let's see. Of course, my screen is making this really hard to see. We do have a question about the usage of these AI functionalities, and we do if you look at our website and our pricing pages, we do associate credits to our AI functions. Right now, you're free to use them as much as you want, but do note we are going to be tracking the usage and things of that nature, but we will be providing full insight through AI usage reports already available. So if you're a current customer and you're just curious to see what you're using. We do have AI usage reports you can check out, and each of the different functionalities does have a little bit of a different weight. So be sure to check that out. And I know at this point, I think we are fully at time. And thank you so much for filling out that poll. If we didn't get to your question, we most certainly will follow up and get you the details that you need. But thank you so, so much for joining us today. We really loved showing off some of this AI capabilities. We hope you're excited about it. And we hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.